If you woke up today expecting to play Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown on the latest live weekly events, well, you can't, for one very specific reason. When you come over into the game, you will of course be presented with this very screen right here. There's maintenance in progress, and we've obviously had some content drop. We understand, but we should understand by now, what is going on. Heading over to Test Drive Unlimited's Discord, we kind of had the drop yesterday that Season 3 patch notes are coming today. Discover new car delivery contracts, navigation, missions, a bunch of new fixes improvements in the mid-season patch. And of course this morning we were then updated from the dev, from Alex7, that we're going to expect around about 4 hours of downtime whilst the servers are under maintenance. They install the new patch, but they're going to communicate with us as to when this is all going to be over. But what can we expect from Season 3's patch in Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown? Is it going to be a big improvement on the game? Or is it just another patch? Well, luckily when we do head on over into Steam, we do now have these Season 3 patch notes. And it kind of went into a little bit of depth here. Alex has kind of put this together for us. New car delivery contracts, new navigation races, a bunch of new fixes and improvements in the mid-season patch. Now, we already knew, we kind of covered this previously, we were expecting a patch mid-season of Season 3. And we're going to have a quick walkthrough here today due to the fact that I can't go in and do this week's live weekly event. I kind of want to talk about the patch itself instead. What are we going to get? What are we going to expect? Is it going to be a changer up towards Season 4? First of all, new car delivery contracts. Ferrari F40, Shelby Cobra, Countach, Pininfarina Battista, the Fenner, a whole host. I'm not going to write them all off, guys. You can read them for yourself, but that is a lot of new delivery contracts that we're going to get. Overall, 18 of these new contracts. Now for me, I've not actually worked through the previous list of contracts, so it's more content. All in all, I think that is going to be a good thing. Additionally, we're going to get even more navigation races. An additional 13 navigations have now been added, and once again, I haven't even completed the previous list, so we're now getting loads more content dropped on top of us. I know a lot of people will already have completed all of the previous lists, so you'll be absolutely elated with more deliveries and more navigation missions. But then we come down to the juicy stuff, guys. We're now talking about the general fixes and improvements that they are bringing towards this patch. Fixed freeze diagonal line when loading into Ibiza in some cases. I've never experienced it personally, but I know this was a big issue for many people. But an even bigger issue, one that I've experienced, ones that I've covered here, in particularly the Lamborghini Diablo delivery contract, where an NPC car spawns in a delivery point where obviously we would be going to drop off the Diablo. Well, it looks like that has now been the focus of a fix, that we're not going to get the NPC cars sitting where we need to drop off the cars. That, in my opinion, is a good fix. This is one I do want to see happening. Updated damage on car respawns during deliveries. I've never seen that one. This is a good one. This is one that I've spoken about quite a few times now. Removing the auto hazard lights. I wanted to see that happen. I wanted to see that come off the game. That, in my opinion, needed fixed. Fixed several general crashes. Now, I know a lot of you guys have experienced it like I have, going in to create a livery. Just recently I spent 2.5 hours creating a livery, and it crashed whilst editing the livery, and I lost all of the work. Much like when you go in to tune a car, you move those sliders too quickly, the game crashes, load out, have to load back in, lo and behold, the tune that you've just made, well, it simply doesn't save. If that is going to be fixed with this one, fantastic, because that there was infuriating me to the point where I'd actually stopped building liveries for the cars, and I actually started to slow down how much tuning I would do in many cars. So that's going to be one of the fixes that we do see from these several general crashes in the game. Absolutely fantastic. Balanced navigation races, balanced navigation race rewards and time limit on Ibiza and Hong Kong Island. Now, this is split opinions so far. There's obviously a few races, in particular the one just below, a decreased payout on Chambernat. Well, Chambernat was good to go in and rinse and repeat to, make it easy to earn money, and I know a lot of people wanted to go in and abuse that one. It looks like they're trying to slow that progress down, and I don't mind it. I don't think this game's hard to make money in. I know a lot of people wanted to go in and just rinse and repeat the same race over and over and over and over again to maximize how much money they had in game. Now, that's fine. That's way you want to play the game. For me, that's not my method, but that's all cool. So it looks like the devs are addressing this. They're kind of balancing the payouts for each race so we can go to experience more. I personally am okay with that, but I know that is certainly going to split opinions. When we talk about money, well, we look forward to Season 4. We're going to get a casino. I don't think money is going to be much of a concern in game, if I'm going to be perfectly honest. Having a quick scroll through the rest here, what else can we really pick up on that's really standing out? Fixed new store notifications, that's fine. Fixed player level lifestyle not displaying on vote kick pop-up, that's cool. Fixed car information panel in hotel hall, sometimes floating above the ground. I did see that a few times. It was ugly to look at. It was horrible, so that's good to see that one happen. Fixing the incorrect time on high stakes screens. I wouldn't know because we tend not to get into them all too often, but that's cool. I don't mind that one. And in honesty, actually, when I think about that, the amount of the amount of high stake races I have done, I have actually noticed an issue with that time to beat. So I may have dismissed that too quickly. That is a good fix. On the high stake races, we go in, and when there's a time to beat, it doesn't actually change. It stays at the standard time. So you know what? I don't mind that. That is a good fix. Gender swap for Spanish voice. I've never listened to it. I'm not Spanish. Fixed flipping card during some delivery RTCs. Yeah, that is what it is. Making a mark now points to cross-country cars instead of restricted supercars. I do think that was a fix that needed to happen. We'll visit that in the coming videos. Adding car delivery images for each challenge. Yes, that does need to be changed. Thank God that one's happening because it was very annoying to look at. Improved description UI for car delivery contracts. It's going to be interesting to see how they negotiate that. I didn't mind it personally, but it'll be interesting to have a look at the user interface for the car delivery contracts. That's cool. Fix photo mode in race, unpausing the player later than AI opponents. Again, this is when you're pausing the game. You want to take a picture of perhaps a cross-country race, your car's mid-air, you're floating over somebody else, you came off of that pause, and the AI actually moved before you could move. It was slightly irritating. I didn't really find it all too much of an issue, but I know that will bother many people, so that is yet again another good fix. Fix several vegetation hitboxes. Now, we've spoken about this a lot. Let's talk about the Porsche 911R delivery mission, and there's a leaf that's hanging over the road. We graze the side of that leaf and you lose 3% of your delivery contract purse. Well, if that's one of those hitboxes, it's going to be fixed. Fantastic. There's a few of them in game, but that's the one that sprung to mind initially, guys. Hopefully that's going to be that fix, and that is another one I think is good to see. Fixed incorrect clan information on group UI. It's just one of those fixes that needed to be done. Fixed player vehicle being on pause too late when leaving photo mode during a race. That's kind of been duplicated there. And balancing the time correctly between 5 PM and 12 AM on Ibiza. So that's going to change how the light reacts essentially. Apologies. That's going to essentially change how the light reacts on the island, moving from Hong Kong over to Ibiza. Again, I think that's another good fix overall. Moving on, vehicle dynamic and modelling. Fix an issue with the gearbox would shift several times between second and first gear when using automatic shifting. I've personally never used it in game, but many of you guys will be using the auto gearboxes. That's going to be an issue. I can understand that issue. A good fix. Upgrades for the Ferrari Aperta. Now, I'm not quite sure. There's a lack of context to fixing the upgrades for the LaFerrari Aperta. I imagine that this is going to nerf the LaFerrari. Previously, we've seen it with the 812 Superfast. That thing was ridiculous, so fast, very much an OP car in game. I think that's what's going to happen here with the LaFerrari Aperta. I don't understand what other upgrades fixes there would be, so it looks like the Aperta's most likely going to be nerfed in terms of power output with the upgrades that have been fitted. Moving on from the LaFerrari, fix an issue where the car would launch into the air after hitting obstacles at high speed and landing too abruptly. Again, that's more down to the physics of the game. A little bit of an improvement there. Improved progressive acceleration on all cars. I'm not quite sure about that one. I don't think I've actually noticed all too much of an issue on progressive acceleration. We'll maybe have a look at that in game. Maybe it's a huge change that's going to revolutionise the way cars accelerate. I'm not too sure on that one. Fix missing rims for the Bentley GT Continental. That's cool. Always want to see more alloy wheel rims for the Americans. Balanced stopping power during friction with barriers. Now then, This of course reverts back to the wall riding nerf that came into place, and I was very, very happy to see that come into place. However, and I just want to start this off, I'm not going to be the guy that moans about getting what I want, because I have got what I want and I think the game's a better place for it. But it is a little bit OP. They've addressed it, they've spoken about it many times. It does need to be more balanced, not improved, balanced. Grazing a bar, you shouldn't have to slow down. Hitting a bush, you shouldn't be slowing down as you were, but subsequently smashing into a barrier to make you faster going around a corner, that has to stay in place. So they're looking here to balance the friction between the car and the barrier, the bush, whatever it may be, and that's a good thing. They understand that the wall riding nerf essentially has to be balanced or realistically improved. That there is one of the patches, and I'm happy about that one. Fixed the rarity of Lamborghini Countach LPI 800 parts. Not on the car yet, so I don't know all too much, I can't comment on that one. Authorised more license plates for Chevrolet and Lamborghini. And lastly there, improved the balance, the braking dynamics on the Viper SRT, and I am looking to buy that SRT. I want to do some content on that one, so we'll have a look at that when it does drop. Moving over to sounds, improved engine sound for the Ferrari California, improved engine sounds for hypercars and supercars, essentially making the pitch more of a supercar noise. Always a good fix to have. Fixed the reverb persisting after using fast travel. I don't think I've noticed that one. May not be for PC. I don't know. I don't think I've actually noticed that one all too much. Lastly, they have added music to car delivery introductions. That's going to be a pain for me. If it's monetized music, if it's copyright music, I'm gonna have to cut out the video. So maybe the one I don't want to see most in game, but its background music is always good. Then we can obviously talk about Then we can lastly see here platform specific, very small tweaks I've had here. Memory leak with GUI sounds across the PC and the Xbox, with network stability and performance being a focus. Now, we know that's an issue. I don't think it's going to be completely rectified in one patch. Fingers crossed it does, but I just think there's going to be more than a patch update to, strongly, vastly improve the network stability. But we'll give them a chance, guys. Let's see what happens with that one. But then we get into the juicy stuff, and I know it's been a long video so far, but this is where the juicy things lie. Future fixes and improvements. This is where we're going to get a look towards the future. What do we expect next with Test Drive Unlimited? This is a big one, and this is one I'm actually pleased to see. There's obviously been a lot of issues with the ranked reward vehicles. I've personally not even achieved a single one. Yes, through the solar pass we've achieved cars, but the ranked cars, they're largely unattainable. Ranked racing doesn't work in the game, and when you get into a ranked race, well, realistically you're not getting into all that many. We've spoke about it quite a lot, and it's now going to be removed from the game. I'm quite glad at that, because it's something we just simply couldn't do. Yes, they're going to work on improvements, they're going to change things up, there's going to be different avenues, but the Lamborghini Valor is now going to be available from Season 4 to purchase in the garage alongside the Chiron 300 Plus, like we've seen previously with the Pininfarina Battista. We're going to be able to buy all of these cars, and they're getting rid of the ranked vehicle rewards. I'm glad at that one. I think that is a good improvement. Of course, something's going to have to come in its place. I imagine they've got something in the pipeline, of course, moving forward to casinos and a lot more work in the future. I'm alright with that one. I'm glad to see that removed from the game. And then we can talk about the economy. Now, this has obviously been a bit argumentative, I would say, across many people. The economy of the game. It does feel like the game can be quite flat because of the issues we have with no cross servers, no cross platform, whatever it may be. Hopefully that gets addressed in the future, but what they are talking about here is what's going to come in year 2. Missions, casinos, and plenty of other things. They're kind of focusing on that right here, that we will be expecting even more ways to earn money. They need to make sure they keep a balance and we can progress the way we want, earn money the way we want, regardless of the way we play. It is a touchy subject, not something they can fix immediately, especially as casino arrives next season. They cannot ruin progression to make it too easy to earn money. I would actually argue it's probably already too easy to earn money. A lot of those ways have been nerfed highway to heaven, now we can see with Chan Bernat, but that's fine. They've got ways they're going to improve on earning money throughout races, missions, including the Crown Jewel races. Hopefully we see improvements to that as well. That's one thing that isn't spoken about enough, is these Crown Jewel races. I want to see these ones better balanced. Maybe open up the 5 races that we've got so far to different categories, or give us more. I think that could be a huge improvement. For me personally, I want to change the category that I go into a Crown Jewel race with. Yes, we're probably not going to take a daily driver around the full race of the map, but it would be a nice option. I would like to see that changed in game. I think that would be a very good improvement for the game overall. So there's plenty of fixes coming for the economy going forward. And lastly, other fixes and improvements. We went over quite a few improvements in the last patch notes. If you haven't seen those already, make sure they are solved in this patch, and there's more to come in Season 4, which realistically, guys, isn't actually all too far away. They've left us with a little final message here. They're currently working on the next big communication for TDUSC. This will be in the next dev diary, which will include information of Season 4, the roadmap for Year 2. That's going to be quite important. I want to see that roadmap, as well as many other topics that the community wanted to tackle, including economy, ranked vehicle distribution, optimization, graphics, network, missions, and more. So there's plenty to be addressed here. There's plenty that they know that still needs to be worked on, and there's plenty, in my opinion, for us to be excited about. Kind of just wanted to walk through the patch notes, give my thoughts and opinions on everything that we are going to expect. I'm looking forward to seeing what this patch will do, but realistically, I'm looking more forward towards Season 4 and, more importantly, Year 2. I hope you guys are too. Give me your thoughts, your feedback on today's video and the latest patch notes and what's to come in the future. And of course, stay tuned for more updates on Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown.